Hello and welcome back to another episode of T Money Talks. On this week's episode, T Money has their very first guest and they discuss their beliefs in spirituality and religion. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hello again to all my listeners out there. It's your host, T Money on the mic, getting ready to spit some rhymes out here tonight, folks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna honestly try not to have a heat stroke on this podcast or have any heat related issues as I did last week. I do apologize for that, but again, it is what it is. So we're just out here vibing today. I do actually have kind of more of like an idea of what I want to talk about on this week's episode, but I feel like I'm just gonna let that happen when it happens, so we're just kind of gonna vibe again, but it's gonna be a well-structured vibe. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a structured vibe, but everything again will still happen organically because I am T Money on T Money Talks. So this week I've been kind of tired. Honestly, I've been like really tired. Like waking up some days I'm like I could just sleep all day. I would prefer to sleep all day. But then again, it gets hot, and then sleeping in when it's hot is really horrible. It's not fun at all.
I agree. It's very gross to just have like the sun just come beat your face. Like I can't think of anything more rude. But yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Sun came out and he smiled at you and said it's gonna be a good one. Just
More
to
like
wait
spat
and
on
see.
your face, but
That's true.
we appreciate the sun. We appreciate the sun.
I think we might have to turn that red fan back on because
I got you.
it's again, I do apologize for the background buzz / noise you guys will hear again. It's just like I said, I cannot handle the heat. Yes, we got to keep it at number 1 because it's just enough to keep me cool, but not enough to make me spiral.
It is needed.
So this week I kind of wanted to talk about how this podcast is for T Money to just talk to themselves about whatever it is they may be talking about, going through, thinking, whatever the issue is that may arise, while also expressing their beliefs and what they believe in, but not forcing it on anyone. So the way as you all know, if this is your first time listening, I believe in astrology, and I feel like the way astrology like in my head works is it also it ties very closely to Hinduism and the way they believe in God, and how they believe that that we are not our bodies, like it's our conscious mind. So like they believe that when you die, they believe in reincarnation, so when you die your conscious mind will go up into the universe and you could choose the path of which you would like to take. And that's kind of the way what I've learned about astrology, and so in that sense that is what my vibe is. But I also want to let people know that that is just what I believe. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to agree with what I believe, because again, we're just vibing here. Everyone, it's a free open space for people to just come in, hear some things, take what resonates with them, take what doesn't, and I'm here to have a good time with myself,
Shake and bake.
and everyone else, who happens to come across this. The whole idea of T Money Talks is for anyone to come in here and feel like they're in a safe space to open up their mind to certain ideas or talk about things that they don't really think about on their daily lives. This podcast is just to help like open up the mind just a little bit, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It's here if you want it, so you could take whatever you do like that I say, whatever doesn't like what I say, you don't have to say it, you don't have to agree with it. It's just here to vibe. for a non-judgmental space. That's what this podcast is about. So it's like, this is what I believe. You don't have to believe it, but also at the same time, like, please respect what I believe, as in I will also respect what you believe type of vibes, you know? Just open, safe space. And I don't know, cause I feel like because some people just don't understand that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think people are not used to like not being so, I don't know, intrusive on beliefs. I'm Jer. I'll leave it at that. No first or last name. Just kidding. But no, yeah. I definitely appreciate the safe space Team Money talks. I totally vibe with that. I think that's how a lot of conversations should be. Especially talking about something as sensitive as, what we believe or what our spirituality is. I'm personally, I guess I wouldn't say, technically I would say I am a Christian, but, I believe in, being spiritual and spirituality as opposed to religion, especially during these last couple of years for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe in a God. I do believe that there is an energy that we all connect with and that we all have some type of connection to, and we can draw anything from this source, whether it be of strength, courage, things that we lack ourselves. That's what I believe God to be, a source that we connect to and talk to and have a connection with. And I think
I hate to say this in the middle of your speech.
Oh no!
But you just gotta hug. You gotta really love that mic.
Oh, I gotta really hug on the
yeah.
mic.
See, now I could hear you a little bit more.
I gotta treat it like my woman.
Yes, exactly. Because now I could hear you just a little bit more crisply.
Gotcha.
When you were holding it just a little bit too far away, it's like we could hear you, but we want to feel you.
Oh, you want to feel me? Okay.
We want to feel the vibes, the energy that because you got some high vibes going here, And I just want people to feel what you're feeling, because I feel like another thing, a very important thing, at least for me, is when listening to things,
mm-hmm.
I feel like it's very important for a person to be able to feel the energy that the person is saying, exactly,
okay.
Because I feel like it gives it a different experience. You really open up to like, oh wow, like this could really resonate with me if I let it.
Yeah.
Or, oh, this doesn't resonate with me at all.
Right. But anyways, yeah, no. I totally agree. I'm gonna hug this mic and show you guys what I'm feeling. Yeah, but I totally believe in God. As for the Bible, I believe a lot of it is for us to gain a better understanding of who God is and what He does for us. I don't put a gender on God, by the way, just so that's stated. I just, he is just a comfortable reference for me because it's just always been the way it's been stated to me, I guess. But I don't think God is man or woman. I think God is God, or that energy is its energy. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm super open-minded, and a lot of people think because I believe in God, that puts me in a box, and I think that's another thing I want to talk to is putting, I think what you're also bringing was like, being in a box and, people just forcing ideas and making this construct of, what spirituality is and that there's only one way and there's only one answer. When I think this energy that I call God could be interpreted in many ways. And I think as long as you're connected to your source and that you're weeding out the good from the bad, and I think if you're in tune with a good energy or a good source, I mean, that in itself should work itself out. But anyways, I'm gonna hand this back to you.
No, I was feeling that. I was vibing. I mean, I agree. I do agree that like church does keep you very close-minded, because
I agree.
They just don't want you to know everything that goes on in the universe. So they try to keep our minds closed. And I think as a child, I was very like, I always did question it whenever I would go to church. Like, why are they like why do I get this strange feeling like I'm being lied to every time I go to I mean, even though like I'm a child and I like don't even completely understand what is being said at all. And that's the other thing, is you're taking out your kids, and like, at least for me, I didn't understand why I was going there, but I could tell like this person is like really trying to force these people to like feel what he's feeling. And I think for me, that's what really like gives me like the offsetting of like going to church.
And I feel that a lot. I would say I personally, I've stopped going to church on a regular basis. I used to be an every Sunday saint. I was just brought up like that. Both my parents are very religious. Both my parents are very, precept on precept, Bible on Bible. Everything is God first. And it had its perks, but it also definitely had its setbacks. Because you're not allowed to think for yourself.
Exactly.
You just have you can have these thoughts and these wants and these desires and everything, but like if anything in this book or anything in this program that churches doesn't accept or doesn't have an answer for, it's just off limits. We just shouldn't do it. We shouldn't talk about it. And I think that's where a lot of it begins, is in these family households that go to church.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, this is probably a bad way to connect it, but I mean, like, if you think about like oppressed people in history, such as slaves and stuff, they have this mentality that they hang on to, and it ventures out, like, generation past generation. I think church is the same way. Like, even since the ancient days, we have this idea that if we give and if we do these so many things for the church, that we're going to prosper. And I think it's obviously not true. We talked about it before, but we kind of I kind of opened up to Team Money about how a lot of the families in church give away so much to help the goodness of the church. Like, for example, I knew several people in the ministry that I used to go back to when I was a kid, and I just know several families that would sign over their houses, would sign over valuable pieces of property, family heirlooms to keep the church going, or whatever the church was. I'll go ahead.
And that's the other thing that I also found very strange, is like when I would go to a Catholic church with my grandma on Sundays for Denny's afterwards, because that's the only thing that kept me going. Was the breakfast after it's over. But it was always strange to me when like towards like somewhere in like the service they'll like bring people around with like a bucket and then
collection plates,
collection box, and I'm like, why are we, wait a minute, you want our money? Why am I giving you money? Like, what is this money gonna do for me? Because why am I have to give you my money? I thought like I came here for to be told about
spiritually fed.
Yeah, but now you're trying to take my money. And that's the other thing. Like, I did it, like, yeah, I understand like it helps for like the church itself, or like going on missions and stuff. Like, yeah, that's how like they get money. But
why fix our own neighborhoods first?
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to say it like that. I totally believe outreach is a very important part of being a Christian. I mean, I agree. I think that your energy and your love and whatever you are that you're putting like out there, it should naturally draw people to you. And I think you should look at yourself if you're pushing a little too hard to make a change or affect things. Maybe you're not in the right pocket. I'm just gonna throw that out there too. But no, totally, it's disturbing, because at some point, like at a kid, you gain so much resentment for the church. I would say, especially if you're born last like 20 years or so. I mean, it's painful to see like these grandmas at church giving their last penny, their last $100 to keep the church doors open, and I don't think it should be like that.
Yeah, I thought, like, at least this is from my understanding, is that like when churches need money, like the church like raises it themselves. Like, they don't come asking for like the people who go to church, like,
because they're the people that ultimately need the help.
Yeah, because like, exactly, because the whole reason of like the whole premise of like go to church is like go and be saved by the Lord. He'll cure you of all your problems. But now you're going to church, and now you also have to you're going there to be fixed for your problems, but now you got to fix the church's problems in order to go.
Wow, that's pretty deep, too. Whoa. No, I felt like that for so long. I think church is so corrupt, and I know this is like such a vague way to come at this topic,
Yeah,
but
and I also feel like people might come at me for this. They're like, "Oh, well, then, and it's like, well, I'd sit down with, like, I feel like maybe I would. Well, no, I don't know, because I have issues about sitting down with like hardcore Christians in a way, and I mean that in no offense, because I don't know a better way to say that, or I don't know a better word to use for that, like, because I've talked to people about my beliefs and what, like, how I view the afterlife or the world or the way things work. I've talked to, and then they just, this is why I'm not a fan of religion and churches, is because whenever I would talk to them, they just automatically, like, will shut down anything I say and prove to me why. No, and that's God. And it's like, that's what I don't like, is you're not even letting me talk. You're not even listening to what I have to say, whether you believe it or not. Like, you're not giving me that time or that space to say, hey, I know you believe in God, and I just sat here and listened to you say all that, but now can you sit here and listen to me say what I believe in? And they don't. They're always like, and if they do, if they are listening, it's to automatically shut down exactly what you just said.
yeah, and it's because it's there's proof. If you went to church today, we have this cookie cutter way of how to get people, quote unquote, saved. And I think that's such a mistake, because everyone's different. Everyone's spirits are different. I personally feel they are. I think we all have like some, like, I'm sure we have some similar core things that we all possess, but like everybody's different in their spiritual walk and their spiritual journey. And like, I've seen, like, there's this program and the Kojic church system. I'm so glad I get to talk about this. Basically, like, you have to pay all this money to become a licensed evangelist. And evangelist is someone who goes and basically tells people about God, and you have to have a license to go talk about this, or you can be arrested for disturbing the peace and all this other, along the lines of that, basically. And it's expensive. It's very expensive. Like, my mother went through this process, and like, there's this fee that you have to pay every year to stay a part of this licensing or whatever. And it is completely a sham. It's a way for them to get money for whatever reason. I don't know what this money goes to. I don't know if this money is going to the government. I don't know why the church would have to pay the government to have evangelists walking around telling people about God. So I extremely doubt that it's going to the government. I'm just like, where is this funding going to? And it just goes to show you, like, a lot of things in church today are man-made, not God-made. And I think a lot of people would be way more open to tapping into their spirituality if there weren't so much man-made things in our religion that we call Christianity today. I mean, I think we should have, especially after the whole Christ debacle and dying for his sins, I think, like, maybe phase one was kind of like shutting down, like, the entire establishment of corrupt church, but we don't attack it enough today, and we just kind of leave it out there in the open for people to just be like, oh, we're Christians, people are gonna hate us anyway because of who we are. And it's so pretentious. And like, the whole thing about Christianity is to be meek, and to be open to everything and everyone in life and be a good source. And we don't do that. We feel that, if we alienate ourselves and we don't talk to the sinner, we think the sinner feel bad, that we're more Christian. And like, I think that's what church is all about today. We're baking cookies thinking we're going to get closer to heaven. And it's not the truth. I think I said this before too. I think a lot about Christianity is about a lot of self-work, just like Hinduism and just like Buddhism.
And that's also what you learn in astrology, is you learn that you have to do the work on yourself in order to get to be your higher self. So when you do, when your time is done in this physical world, your conscious mind could then ascend to its higher self. It could take a different path. It doesn't have to come back down onto earth to continue to finish working on the lessons or do whatever it was you needed to do on this earth. You could just ascend. You could move on. And then too, like, I don't even want to say that it's just Christians or just Catholics or just people to go to church, but it's people who, like, were also atheists, who also like tie into this idea of that they're very headstrong about like what they believe in, and also people who don't believe in like a god, like people who are like actually into science, and like that when they hear about astrology they like automatically want to push it down as well. And the way, like for example with atheists and Christians, atheists are always know the Bible better than a Christian because so they could use the word of the Christian's word against them in an argument. And so in that sense, like people are always, no one's wanting to listen. And the same goes with astrology and scientists. A scientist will tell you astrology's fake and it's not real, it's bullshit. But an astrologist, a person who like me, we're not going to fight you. We're not going to try to argue with you. We're not going to try to persuade you to believe what we believe in. We're just going to be like, okay, that's cool. You don't believe in it, that's fine, that's on you. Like if you don't want to believe in it, you don't have to. Like that's the whole point of free will. Like it's up to you. How you want to live your life is how you live your life. I'm not going to try to be like, no, you're wrong, it is real, this is why it's real, and this, like, no, you don't. At least I have never encountered a person who is into astrology and was so headstrong about it where they've tried to force it on you. Everyone who I've met and talked about with astrology with, they're always very peaceful, open-minded individuals who are like, I have these things to say. If you're open to hear them, let's talk about it. And if you're not open to talk about it, that's okay. We could talk about anything else. And that's what I love about it, is it's just very peaceful, open, giving, it's just, we're here to help people learn and ascend and work on themselves. And that's amazing to me, like where else can you go and get that same thing where you're not being forced to do something you don't want to do. It's just, you take what resonates, and then it's like, if you take that little bit and you're like, I don't really know if it like this to be true, that's okay. But like now like your mind's like just a little bit more open, and that's the thing. It's just like, it's not just the church, and it's just people not choosing to open their minds up to the other possibilities that the world has to offer.
It's like your vision, it's like your pair of glasses for clarity,
Like for me, I believe astrology to be real. Someone else may not believe astrology to be real, and that's fine. That's okay. You don't have to. But at the same time, like, please respect and understand that this is something that I believe in. Because again, and we've talked about this before, is like, even I mean, I know this isn't true, but even if the Christians and the Catholics, they were right, we all have to go to church, we all have to be essentially quote unquote brainwashed into believe everything that they believe in. Even if that was true, they were 100% correct. And everyone else, like every other religion, or even me with astrology, we were all fake. Like, we all, like, it was wrong. My thing is, this is also something I learned in astrology, is if it is fake, if it's not true, why are you going to take away that little bit of happiness that I had, that little bit of comfort that you get from going to church, knowing that things are going to be okay for you, that you're going to be saved, that in the end you're going to get somewhere, you're going to get closer to God? Why are you going to take that from me? Because you're so content to tell me I'm wrong. And that's the thing too I like about astrology, is that we're not going to tell you your God doesn't exist, that your religion is wrong, that you don't know the truth. We're not going to come at you like that. We're not going to force you. We're not going to be so headstrong that we take away that little joy, that comfort, that thing you get to ease the pain throughout your day or throughout your life. We're not going to we don't try to take that away from you. Because if that's what comforts you, if that's what keeps you going in the world, then keep that. Like, we don't want to destroy that. We just want to help you expand to know that there also could be more if you opened your mind to it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I think there's so many ways to tap into your spirituality. Like, there are good ways and there are bad ways. I think that's just, plain and simple. I think there is lines that you can cross that are not good for you. you know, and I think having any form of a positive enforcement in your life that causes you not to be in a bad place or a bad person or whatever, you know, shifts that energy from bad to good for you, whatever that is, I think that person should hold on to it if they don't believe in anything else. And we should just be understanding of that as another human. And Christianity doesn't allow that.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
And like, I don't think, you know, the church today is of God at all. I really don't. I'm not saying that there's not good people at church, because there really is. I think there are people who genuinely do a lot of good in church. But most of them don't. Most of them are very selfish. Most of them are very cowardice. I think a lot of them lie a lot. And we're not allowed to talk about it. There's been so many situations that's happened in my church that I grew up in my entire life that we just don't talk about. That we know Deacon so and so did this to you know, he will not be named, and they don't go to the church anymore because of this deacon did something foul to this person, and we're just acting like it's all okay because the big man in charge said, "Oh, we talked to God together. He's okay." You know. It's not. I don't. That's so unreal.
I also like just I don't know. Just from hearing that, it also reminds me of like how I feel like a lot of people will use like God, peace, or like God is with you, or like God is watching, like type of thing, as like kind of like as a way to like
Control.
Or even a way to attack someone. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
people, like you'll be arguing with someone, and then like someone will cut you off, or you'll cut someone off, and they'll be like yelling at you, and you're just like, Jesus is among us, type of thing, like as an attack. And it's like, why do we use that as like, now I hurt them because they probably don't believe in God, and that probably really like made them, or you know, or like why did they even if that's not the thought process, and it's, oh, this person needs more God, they need to feel his power so that they could stop being so angry all the time, you know, then why is it like that?
Because intent is a very real thing. I think just by the way we say things to one another could affect our day. I think that's, again, I'm going to state that I'm a spiritual person, not necessarily a Christian. You know, I don't know if I would just write myself. I mean, I believe in a lot of the core values of Christianity, but I don't believe in the religion anymore. I think because when you are I think the main issue with Christianity, I'm going to say this, is that if you haven't dealt with yourself, you cannot help other people. I'm not going to say you can't help them in any type of way. I'm not saying you can't be kind or you can't be loving or help someone out. But until you have reached true enlightenment, just like in any other religion, if you haven't reached a true understanding of being comfortable and understanding where you're at, you can't sit here and minister and help other people, because you're just gonna, just like, it bothers me because I mean, I've known you for a good amount of time. You're not a mean person. You're not vicious. You're not angry. You're not hard to talk to. And like, person saying that, you know, what should be a beautiful thing, just saying God be with you, you know, it makes you feel like you're being attacked.
Exactly.
And that's because that person is more concerned about being right, and that person's more concerned about making sure that they're validating what they're saying means something, as opposed to really having a heart to do something for God or the true honest concern for another person's soul. You know, and I think that's where a lot of the issue lies with Christianity and the rest of society. We want to be right, and we want to be better, and we want to be seen. You know, it's basically turned into a freaking talent show. You know, have you seen these mega churches today, bro?
No.
And no shade, it's really cool that they have these freaking concerts during, you know, morning worship and all that other stuff.
Oh,
but
yeah.
doesn't our kids in our community need to go to college? Don't kids in our community need a place to live? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on just around Rancho and just around Fontana in general. I don't think we need to be making our facilities bigger. I think we need to be investing all this money that we're taking into making our actual society and structure better and giving a place, hey, here's free therapy. You know, that's not
Yeah,
even.
because now that I think about it, churches are huge,
They're
man. Like, there's
huge.
one church I went to with a friend in Corona. That thing was it could have been like a concert venue. It was so big.
And you know, and they get money they get money from these grants, but a lot of it comes from the people, daily
Jeez.
workers. You know, like my grandma still sends in her tithes. She's on a fixed income. The church hasn't came to her door once and asked her, "Hey, are you alive?" You know,
Oh my god.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not even Bible, you know. And like we continue to just act like we're the righteous people, we're the chosen people, and the truth is you're not. You're a self-righteous and self-chose person, and you're trying to do all this fabulous work of God, and you don't know that energy, you don't know that healing, you don't know that love for yourself. You know, you're just looking to be seen as someone who is.
Mm-hmm.
And like that leads me back to intent. I mean, I've known you for 5 years,
I
five,
don't, it's
6 years.
too.
Now?
I don't know.
It's
I
been a
don't even.
while.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten a bad, vicious energy from you. I've never tried to impose my beliefs on you. I can feel your spirit. I can feel who you are. I can see who you are, and I know you're not a bad person. I know you're not going to lead me down the wrong path, even though you believe things differently or you see things differently than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have enough spirituality, and I'm a little bit more in tune with my spirituality to know that that's completely okay, and that as long as your spirit is okay, and I'm not getting some crazy, murderous intent from you or something, I think you're gonna be okay in the afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
unless something's obviously would happen. I think we're close enough, that I would eventually help you out if you were in some bad place spiritually or something, like
Mm-hmm.
I think friends and like people like that, their energy should be able to guide you back on to the path you're supposed to be. And I think that's being
Oh my.
part of God. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel, and then too, like, I also want to say, like, as a side note, is like, in case anyone like comes in on this and hears it, like, oh well, no, now you're the one who like believes in astrology. Now you're bashing on all of these like different religions and all these different things. And I just want to say, I'm not. I mean, yeah, I'm not bashing anyone. I feel like I'm just discussing the way I feel about church and religion and the way people view things.
And she's right.
I'm just talking my opinion. I'm just saying how I feel about them, and with the whole again, which brings me back to the point of this is just I'm talking about this because it's a safe, open place to talk, be able to just talk about things like this, to talk about, to have somewhere to go where you're like, okay, I don't really trust the church anymore, but I also have this feeling that there's more that going on in the world that no one's telling me. And so if anywhere, I want this podcast to be, kind of be have that energy of you could come here and have these types of talks, these types of discussions with people, and know that what is being said isn't going to be taken in the wrong way, or going to be taken to be used against you, or be you force you to learn anything. It's just being said so it could be discussed, so you could hear it from a different point of view. You could hear it how the way we view the world, or the way we view religion or church, so that you could, so that this is the one way where you can't bash on everything I'm saying. You just have to listen and be open to what it is that we discuss. And if what we say you don't like, that's fine. Like, you don't have to love or appreciate or agree with anything that we have said this entire time. In fact, you could disagree with it all you want.
Come at me,
Why?
bro.
Because
Just kidding.
why? Because that's just, we're just here to talk. We're just here to discuss things. We're here to help everyone open and expand their mind and understand that you don't have to view things the way everyone else does. You could choose to view the world however you want to choose to view the world, or however you want to view anything. And that's the whole point, is no one's bashing anyone. We're all just discussing things. We're just discussing beliefs, because this is a free, open space where there is no judgment, only discussion, so that both parties could learn from what's being said. So they could take certain things and be like, oh, you know what, let me ponder on that one. That one actually, like, they got a point there. Or, oh, that one, that was pretty interesting. Let me go and ponder that idea. That's the whole point of what's going on, of what's being said in this podcast. It's not, it's just to inform, just to get a different perspective.
Right.
In a safe space. Because T Money Talks is all about safe spaces.
I love your safe space.
Thanks. I feel we were going off. We were like having a time.
Yeah, I kind of don't. I know, it's like, especially if my parents hear me talk like that. I mean, I kind of discuss some of this with my parents. I think my mom would be like, what? And it's just, I don't know. I think the church is a very messed up place, and I don't think we're talking about it enough.
I agree.
And I'm just really tired of all of us putting big crosses in our homes and putting "I love Jesus" in the back of our cars, and just because it makes us feel better. I want our people, Christians, to do the self work, and the labor that's actually being a follower of Christ, and actually being in tune with God and what's going on around you. Because if you were in tune with what was going around you, you would not be sitting at home in your house every day reading your Bible scripture and going to Wednesday night Bible study and feeling like that is going to fulfill the rest of your life. It's not. I think naturally you're going to get a lot of pent up energy, and you're going to start feeling like you're not worth anything, because realistically you're not doing anything great.
Exactly.
You're just part of a big clubhouse, basically.
Which is why I'm always saying, like, you got to take the time for yourself. You got to get to know yourself, which is why I started T Money Talks, so T Money could get to know themselves, so I could know like how I feel, or what I think I need to do, or so I could take time to get to know me. And so I encourage other people to like sit down with themselves and meditate, or just listen to what their body is trying to tell them, listen to their thoughts, just really like sit down with yourself and be like, who am I? Who is T Money? Who is Jer? Who, like, you really look at yourself in the mirror and be like, who am I?
And do I even like me?
Exactly. And that's the thing, is some people could learn, like, when you sit down with yourself, that you don't like certain things, certain aspects of who you are. But once you figure out what those aspects you learn those things that you don't like about yourself, you could work to improve them, to change them. You could work on yourself so you could be a better version of you. So you could connect higher to your higher self. So you could. And that's the thing, it's because for me, I put in the work so that when I ascend, I don't have to reincarnate into another person and continue what my purpose of the world to do. So I don't have to redo my purpose on the world again, like to being here. So for me, I say I do the work so I could get to my higher self, because that's where I'm trying to get to, because I already know why I'm on this planet for. I know my purpose, and now I'm fulfilling my purpose. I'm working towards that goal so I could ascend onto a higher level. But you could still work on yourself. You could still fix the things you don't like. You could improve certain things in your life, and that doesn't have to go towards your higher self. It could be simply just for you, which is why, again, it's up to you how you want to view things, how you want to do things. But you should 100% take care of yourself and work on yourself.
Educate yourself.
Yes, educate. Open your mind just a little, because come on, aliens, they're real.
They're so real, to be honest. I don't know why, because we believe in Christ, we can't believe in aliens.
Yeah, like, don't.
The Bible never talked about iPhones. That doesn't make them not real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Or like with ghosts and things. Like, it's not all. It's not entirely what they tell you in movies or in like church. It's not always. It's just expand your mind. You just have to be open to the idea that other things exist. That we're not the only existence in the universe. And I feel like that's really what it comes down to, is that we're also like, no, we're the only things to exist. Like, God put us on this planet and we're the only things he put on this planet. And I'm like, no, first of all, I don't think
I don't think God's that bored. First, I don't.
Yeah, and then that's the thing too. Is like if you're this almighty powerful being, why are you gonna create this one species, and then we're like this,
I know.
and then the world is the way it is. Like you're gonna tell me this all powerful being is gonna create people like us? You're telling me that's how it works?
Yeah.
Like that's like I guarantee you, if I no power, because no, I feel like if I was that powerful, I would get bored real quick. Because there's even the Futurama episode where Bender basically becomes God, because he's like in the middle of space, like lost, just stranded, and then like these like, I don't know, like people or like these munchkins, I don't know, stuff starts growing on him, and they start physical form, and so Bender basically becomes their god because they're living on him.
Oh, I think I remember this episode.
And then he ends up meeting like some like this in the stars, like but but like even Bender got bored. He was like, this is boring, like these people are destroying themselves, and for what? Like like I would get real bored real quick. Like, let's move on to the next thing, let's try again. So I just feel like we're not the only ones that exist.
I know. I'm a weirdo, but I mean, I don't believe we as a species are gonna be here forever. No, I don't. I do feel like at some point, I do believe that our spirituality is gonna become a reality at some point in time. Like, I don't think it's always gonna be this. I don't know. I think once, whatever you call it, like the next dimension, the fifth dimension, however anyone says it, whatever we do when we pass over, I do think there's gonna come an end to like this way of living. Like, I think we haven't tapped into the vastness of space, and we only know so much physics. Like, I just think at some point, which kind of feels like it's like, I don't know, like it's kind of happening. Just weird stuff is happening all around us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And it's coming in like these waves of pure disaster. And I don't know. I think chaos breeds like new things, basically. And I don't know. I feel like we're all in like this. We're just swirling into this big pot of whatever we've been cooking in for the last billion years or whatever. I don't know how.
I don't know. I feel like we got pretty deep. We had a very good conversation. I feel like we gave not only myself, but whoever listens to this podcast, we gave them something to really think about. And I think that's what's important, is I hope the people who listen to this podcast are listening to it with an open mind, because we did spit a lot of knowledge today. We had a lot of good, deep, hard questions, and I feel like we could go on about this for, I guarantee you, 3 hours straight.
Easy.
But considering that'd be a very long podcast episode,
We know you want it.
I feel like that it just should not, we should just, we should like, I feel like we should let the viewers kind of like simmer with this episode, like simmer with the ideas.
Put that on low. Go take a seat on the couch.
Yeah, and just go like ponder this throughout your week. Think more about it, because I feel like I would love to have you on again and we talk about something else, because and again, if you like this too, let me know. Like, if you want more like deep conversations with like this, I would absolutely bring on other people, bring Jer again, and really talk more about other things, because we were very entertaining. I hope you guys were all very well entertained this week.
Because you're not going to get any better. Just kidding.
So I think now would be a good time to wrap things up. I had a great time. I don't know if there's anything you want to leave off with the viewers today before I close this up.
Nothing. I just hope everyone's chill, and I guess my last thoughts would be tap into your spirituality.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly, like seriously, like if you didn't take anything from what I said, or if anything didn't resonate with you, I don't know, just look a little beyond yourself, and try to look for a bigger picture. I don't think it's a good thing to just be so content with what's in front of your face. Yeah, I hope all is going well with anyone who's listening out there, and reach out for some help if you need it, and whatever you feel comfortable and what makes you feel like a better person, freaking gun for it.
Wow, that was lovely. I feel like that was the perfect way to end this podcast. So I'm just going to leave my listeners with that beautifulness that Jer had just dropped on you guys. So until next week, guys, this is T Money saying live your life, because you're the only one who get it. All right. Bye.